This story began on a Saturday evening in July 2011 during a dance lesson when Joseph Saunier, a respected and wealthy pathologist, first met Michelle Tina. Joseph was a single man, well known in his city and beyond, enjoying his independence, status, and financial success. Michelle, nearly 10 years younger, was described as beautiful and sweet, a successful woman living a vibrant and fulfilling life. Their meeting on the dance floor marked the beginning of a relationship that would grow from an ideal partnership in dance into a tender and passionate romance. At the time, no one could have imagined the tragic events that would eventually follow. Before meeting Michelle, Joseph Saunier's life was shaped by both achievements and hardship. Before we begin, please subscribe to the channel and like this video. Your support helps keep these stories alive and ensures the victims are never forgotten. Now let's begin. He was born in 1955 into a respected family of doctors in Shreveport, Louisiana. From an early age, Joseph dreamed of continuing the family legacy by becoming a physician with exceptional skill. In 1976, he earned a Bachelor of Science in Medical Science from the University of Baton Rouge. He later applied to Louisiana State University in Shreveport and began working at Parkland Hospital in Dallas, Texas. Joseph successfully balanced his university studies with demanding hospital work, taking on additional responsibilities to refine his skills and expand his knowledge. His dedication did not go unnoticed, and in his final year of training, he was appointed chief resident. After completing his studies, Joseph chose to specialize in pathological anatomy. Over time, he became a respected pathologist and laboratory director in Lubbock, Texas. Joseph's life was deeply marked by the tragic loss of the woman he once loved. His marriage, which lasted 27 years and which he believed to be a happy one, ended in divorce when his wife fell in love with another man. Joseph accepted her choice with dignity and agreed to the divorce, believing that the woman he loved had found her happiness. Dr. Saunier possessed a strong character and a pronounced sense of responsibility and nobility. After the divorce, he maintained a warm and respectful relationship with Becky and continued to support their 2 sons, demonstrating resilience and inner strength. 2 years later, tragedy struck again when Becky was murdered by her new husband. Shocked by the brutal death of his former spouse, Joseph experienced another devastating wave of grief. He often reflected on the years they had shared as a family and mourned her loss deeply. Despite his pain, Joseph once again became the pillar of his family. He immediately took responsibility for all organizational matters, including funeral arrangements and expenses, and devoted himself to helping his sons endure the trauma. Years later, the children admitted that it was their father's support that helped them survive that dark period. The tragedy left a permanent mark on Joseph's heart. For some time, he immersed himself entirely in work and in raising his sons. Eventually, the grief led him to reassess his life, and he decided to begin a new personal chapter, one tied to a new city and, eventually, a new woman. In 2007, Dr. Saunier moved with his sons from Dallas to Lubbock, Texas, where he accepted a position as chief pathologist at Covenant Health System. Seeking something new to fill the emotional void within him, Joseph enrolled in a local dance studio. He enjoyed the classes not only for the movement, but also for the opportunity to meet new people. On a few occasions, he even attempted, unsuccessfully, to build romantic relationships with dance partners. Then, one warm summer evening, Michelle Tina walked into the dance class. Elegant, graceful, refined, with lively eyes and a sharp sense of humor, she caught Dr. Saunier's attention immediately. Her smile seemed to light up the room, and Joseph felt she was exactly the woman he had been waiting for. Michelle, in turn, noticed the confident and respectful man moving skillfully across the dance floor. Michelle was 47, Joseph 57, and together they formed a perfectly balanced pair. With each class, they grew closer. When Dr. Sonia suggested they begin dating, Michelle agreed. What appeared to be a happy new chapter began in both of their lives. Michelle possessed a natural charm and magnetism that drew people to her. Men were often willing to change their lives, destroy marriages, and even commit criminal acts for her. She was one of those women whose presence provoked passion and obsession. Joseph and Michelle had not crossed paths earlier only because she had been living in Amarillo, several hours away from Lubbock. In truth, both of them were trying to start fresh after painful personal experiences. When Michelle left Amarillo, she was escaping fear and anxiety linked to Mike Dixon, the owner of a private plastic surgery and cosmetology clinic. She met Mike in 2008 during a visit for Botox injections. Their interaction began as friendly conversation, then shifted to flirtation, and eventually turned into a romantic relationship. Michelle was an independent, accomplished woman who had worked as an executive in the NFL and built a successful career. Her 4 children were grown, and she owed nothing to anyone. Mike's situation was very different. Married at the time, the plastic surgeon began living a double life. After a few months, his wife discovered the affair and filed for divorce following 20 years of marriage. Mike was so infatuated with Michelle that he barely registered the collapse of his family life. He left his wife decisively for Michelle, even though she had never asked him to do so. What Michelle had seen as a light, passionate affair soon became a relationship defined by Mike's obsessive need for control and emotional dependence. When Mike did not receive the level of attention he demanded, he began to pressure Michelle, which only pushed her further away. Recognizing the manipulation and his desire to dominate her life, she chose to end the relationship. In 2010, their paths officially separated. Even after the breakup, Mike continued to pursue her relentlessly, urging her to return. His obsession crossed all healthy boundaries, leaving Michelle with only one option: to leave, to disappear from his life, and to free herself from his oppressive influence. That decision ultimately led Michelle to Lubbock, determined to start over and build a new life from a clean slate. Dr. Sonia and his beautiful, cheerful partner quickly found common ground. Their connection deepened naturally, and over time their relationship grew into genuine love. Joseph's sons and relatives warmly accepted Michelle into the family and were truly happy for him. Joseph spared no expense in making her feel cherished. He showered her with gifts, took her to the finest restaurants and private clubs in the city, and planned trips together. When Joseph realized he had finally found a woman with whom he wanted to spend the rest of his life, he took Michelle to Los Angeles. There, surrounded by his entire family, he proposed to her. At the time, Michelle was 47 years old and deeply in love. Her social media pages soon filled with near-daily declarations of love and devotion to Joseph, openly celebrating their happiness and future together. Of course, Mike Dixon could not help but see these public confessions. Learning that Michelle was not only in a new relationship, but openly professing her love and preparing for marriage, devastated him emotionally. He understood that winning her back was no longer possible, yet he still dared to suggest resuming their former arrangement, if not as partners, then at least as lovers. The idea of a love triangle was firmly rejected. Michelle made her position clear and immediately told Joseph everything. Soon after, the couple began to feel uneasy. They had the distinct sense that someone was watching them. On one occasion, they even noticed what appeared to be a camera flash coming from the backyard window. Still, they dismissed it, not fully grasping the seriousness of the situation. Unbeknownst to them, events were already spiraling out of control. On July 11, 2012, a landscaper arrived at Dr. Sonia's home to discuss an upcoming renovation project. After knocking and receiving no response, he noticed that the door was open. Assuming Joseph might not have heard him, the man stepped inside. Immediately, he saw that the house was in disarray. Most alarming of all was a bullet hole near the front door, suggesting a violent intrusion. Cautiously moving further into the house, The landscaper searched for the homeowner. When he entered the garage, he was met with a horrifying sight. Joseph Sonia lay on the floor in a pool of blood, showing no signs of life. His body bore clear evidence of both stab wounds and gunshot injuries. Fearing that the perpetrator might still be nearby, the landscaper fled the house and called emergency services. At 2:48 p.m., the police received the call, and several patrol units were immediately dispatched to the scene. Upon arrival, officers confirmed the victim's identity as 57-year-old pathologist Joseph Sonia. Paramedics pronounced him dead at the scene. The murder sent shockwaves through the community. It had occurred in one of the city's most peaceful, affluent neighborhoods, an area known for its safety and virtually non-existent crime. Dr. Sonia was widely respected, known for his calm demeanor, kindness, and professionalism, and he appeared to have no enemies who would wish him harm. Although a window had been broken, investigators quickly ruled out robbery, as nothing of value was missing from the home. Among the evidence discovered was a bottle with its base shot out. Investigators believed it had been used as an improvised silencer for a firearm. Shortly afterward, a forensic team arrived to process the scene. The killer appeared inexperienced, having left behind numerous traces. DNA collected from the bottle and blood samples found throughout the house were sent to the laboratory for detailed analysis. When detectives began canvassing the neighborhood, the results were frustrating. Neighbors reported that they had neither seen nor heard anything suspicious on the day of the murder. There were no CCTV cameras covering the area near the house, leaving investigators without visual evidence. Based on the crime scene analysis, detectives concluded that the perpetrator had entered the home through a large panoramic window facing the backyard, an approach that allowed the attacker to surprise the victim completely. The confrontation appears to have begun in the dining room, where the attacker first encountered Dr. Sonia and opened fire. Investigators believe this was the moment when the wine bottle was used as an improvised silencer. Bloodstains leading away from the dining area and down the hallway indicated that Joseph was still alive after being shot. He managed to reach the garage, where the attacker caught up with him and stabbed him repeatedly. The autopsy later confirmed the brutality of the assaults: 5 gunshot wounds and 11 stab wounds. Everything about the scene suggested that this was a targeted killing, not a random act of violence. What remained unknown was the identity of the killer and the motive behind the crime. As the investigation progressed, detectives turned their attention to Dr. Sonia's inner circle. During questioning, his fiancée described a series of unsettling incidents that had occurred in the months leading up to the murder. According to her, it increasingly felt as though Joseph was being stalked. Michelle recalled seeing a strange man standing outside Joseph's house, watching the doors and windows. She also spoke of persistent phone calls and text messages that Joseph began receiving shortly before his death. Police attempted to verify this information, but initially believed that the calls and messages were coming from other women in Joseph's life. Some witnesses claimed that the pathologist had been in contact with multiple women at the same time. When investigators asked Michelle whether she knew about these alleged relationships, she denied any knowledge of them. Joseph's sons were equally adamant, insisting that their father was not the kind of man who would carry on affairs. Despite these denials, investigators continued to explore a jealousy-driven motive. During a subsequent interrogation, the pressure became overwhelming. Michelle broke down in tears and admitted that she was aware of several women who might have harbored resentment toward Joseph. According to her, a number of former girlfriends had been persistently stalking him. Although Joseph ignored their attempts to contact him, they never hid their anger over his impending marriage. One of these women was from Florida and continued to call and write even after Joseph made it clear that he was in a serious relationship with Michelle. Another was a nurse who worked with him and regularly contacted him as well. A third woman, who had a daughter, had sent Joseph a letter shortly before the murder, accusing him of abandoning her and her child. It was during this same interview that Michelle mentioned Mike Dixon for the first time. Until then, She had not linked the surveillance and strange behavior to him. After she firmly rejected his proposal to continue their relationship as lovers, Mike appeared to have disappeared from her life entirely. Michelle believed he had accepted her engagement to Joseph and moved on. With this new information, police identified a viable suspect and arranged to speak with the plastic surgeon. Mike Dixon agreed to cooperate and came in voluntarily. During his interview, he admitted that he had been deeply in love with Michelle and had even divorced his wife because of those feelings. He acknowledged that the separation had been devastating and that, for a time, he had tried desperately to win Michelle back. She refused him repeatedly. Eventually, Mike claimed, he accepted her decision and began seeing another woman, someone significantly younger than himself. His new girlfriend, a medical student, confirmed his alibi, stating that Mike was at work at the time of the murder and later spent the evening with her. The investigation soon reached a critical impasse. Every suspect, including Michelle herself, had solid and verifiable alibis. Detectives attempted to identify any possible enemies of the victim or individuals who might have been financially motivated by his death, but these efforts produced no new leads. When the forensic laboratory results finally arrived, they offered little relief. The DNA recovered from the bottle used as a makeshift silencer did not belong to Joseph Sonnier. However, the sample also did not match anyone in the police database, leaving investigators without a clear suspect and the case seemingly at a dead end. Then, in an unexpected turn of events, law enforcement received a call from Paul Reynolds, an aspiring EMT from Amarillo. Paul reported that he had been sharing housing with a man named Dave Shepard, who had recently confessed to committing a murder in Lek. According to Paul, Dave had later attempted to take his own life, but survived. Paul explained that Dave had revealed specific details about the crime that were not publicly known, including the use of a bottle as a silencer, information only investigators should have had. This immediately raised alarm bells. Paul also stated that Dave claimed he was not acting alone and that the murder had been ordered by an unnamed doctor connected to plastic surgery. Police quickly began investigating Dave Shepard's background. They discovered a history of violent behavior, theft, and disorderly conduct. Although he had no prior convictions for murder, he was divorced, unemployed, and had been arrested multiple times, including one incident involving the theft of $330,000 from a wealthy businessman. Dave Shepard was taken into custody and brought in for questioning. Before long, he began to cooperate with investigators. During his confession, he stated that the murder had been arranged by Mike Dixon. Dave explained that he met Mike in a bar, where both men were struggling emotionally after painful breakups. Alcohol-fueled conversations gradually turned into a friendship. According to Dave, Mike spoke openly about his love for Rel, his inability to move on, and his despair over her upcoming marriage to another man. He expressed that he was willing to do anything to get her back. As the conversations continued, Mike and Dave allegedly came to the conclusion that Dr. Sonnier was the only obstacle standing in the way. Together, they devised a plan to eliminate him. However, according to Dave, their initial intentions did not include murder. They only wanted to discredit the pathologist so that the proud Rel would leave him and eventually return to Mike. First, they found several women who were paid substantial sums of money, about $1,000 each, to pose as mistresses and actively pursue Joseph. Then a letter appeared from a woman claiming Joseph had abandoned her and her child. Each time, Dr. Sonnier denied the accusations, and Rel believed him. It later emerged that the camera flash the couple had noticed was actually the light from Dave's cell phone flashlight. He regularly drove to their house, staging the illusion of surveillance. Each of these trips was financed by Mike Dixon, who provided money for gas and related expenses. When the attempts at spying and slander failed to separate the couple, Mike decided to resolve the situation in a far more radical way. He told Dave that he wanted him to kill the pathologist. As payment, Dixon offered 3 silver bars, worth approximately $110,000. Dave agreed. One bar, given as a down payment, was immediately sold at a pawn shop. According to Dave Shepard, when he arrived at Dr. Sonia's house, everything spiraled out of control. He claimed the shooting was accidental. Frightened, he said Joseph began walking down the hallway. After regaining his senses, Dave called out, asking if Dr. Sonia was all right. Receiving no response, he followed him into the garage, where Joseph lay on the floor. Dave stated that he heard his last breath and checked his pulse, finding none. In his confession, Shepard claimed that he stabbed Joseph Sonia in a panicked and irrational attempt to conceal what he described as involuntary manslaughter. He admitted to stabbing him multiple times, stating he could not remember the exact number. Dave said he had Joseph's phone in his hand and considered calling emergency services but did not. He then left, went to Mike's house, collected the remaining silver, and later attempted to take his own life. Dave insisted that when he agreed to the plan, he did not fully understand what he was agreeing to. He claimed that had the accidental gunshot not occurred, Dr. Sonia would still be alive. Mike Dixon was arrested the same day on charges of first-degree murder, based on Dave's testimony and a large body of evidence, including phone calls and text messages containing incriminating statements. During his initial interrogation, Dixon denied all allegations and demanded an attorney. Legal proceedings followed. As part of a plea deal, Dave Shepard pleaded guilty to his role in the crime and waived his right to appeal. In exchange, he avoided the death penalty and received a life sentence without parole. Mike Dixon pleaded not guilty, as the evidence against him was largely circumstantial. During the trial, Dave unexpectedly testified that he had acted alone and that Dixon was not involved. He claimed under oath that the silver bars were intended as an investment in a business venture they planned to start together. The jury failed to reach a unanimous verdict, resulting in a mistrial. A second trial took place in 2016, during which Dixon was found guilty of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison without parole. Dixon's attorneys later filed an appeal, which led to the conviction being overturned. He was released on a $2 million bail. However, the case did not end there. The prosecutor's office appealed to the state's highest criminal court, seeking reinstatement of the sentence or a third trial. The motion, filed on February 11, 2019, was granted in April 2020. Dixon's bail was revoked. A new arrest warrant was issued, and the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals reinstated the life sentence. The court ruled that Dixon must continue serving life in prison without the possibility of parole. Mike Dixon is currently incarcerated in a prison in Texas. Dr. Joseph Sonia became an unwilling part of this fatal love triangle when he began dating Michelle in July 2011. She has since said that he was the great love of her life and expressed deep regret that she unknowingly led a criminal into the life of a noble, loving, and honest man. Thanks for watching, guys. Subscribe to the channel and don't forget to click the bell. Many more shocking stories are ahead.